number 12. Matthew chapter number 12, and we're going to start with verse 15. Hope that God has blessed you today, gave you some rest, and how important it is to be in God's house. Yes. To be amongst the brethren. Amen. I know that it's pretty weather and it's getting nice out there. There's no doubt that that's an allure for some people to maybe make an excuse to say, you know, maybe I don't need to go to God's house. Maybe I don't need to go to church tonight. Yeah. But let me tell you, pretty weather has nothing compared to what God has in store in His house. It's beautiful in God's house. Amen. It's already been apparent. The songs we've sung, everything that we've done, lifting up Christ's name. If you will tonight, let's think just a little bit about what it is to lay treasures up for God. Laying treasures up for God is very important. Yeah. Eventually, I knew it was coming. I'd get some glasses, right? Put ball on everybody's glasses. You look good. Hey, thank you. Helen put these in my jacket, and she said, you use those. And we had already got the huge, giant, large print Bible. And so I don't think they make anything bigger. Helen said, maybe I need to get a family Bible and start carrying it around so I can preach out of it. So, but anyway, we lay treasures up for ourselves in heaven as Christians. And tonight, Jesus is going to be talking about a parable, and it's going to be something that we need to take and put within our hearts and giving us instruction and direction as to how we need to conduct ourselves as Christians. Amen. So we are in Luke chapter 12 and verse 15, if you look down to the way. Did I say Matthew? Yeah. Now I'm going deaf. Or now I just have a speech impediment. I'm sorry. Luke chapter 12. Thank you. I'm not only going to preach, I'm going to quiz you tonight. Luke chapter 12, verse 15. Okay. I should have put these on earlier. Luke chapter 12, verse 15. What is a parable? A parable is a short story that teaches a moral or spiritual lesson. Amen. Now, Jesus said in one part of the Bible, actually in Luke as well, that the rich man lifted his eyes in hell. That was an actual account. But here he starts out that he's going to speak a parable unto them to teach them a lesson. Now, in verse 15, he says here, and he said unto them, take heed and beware of covetousness, for a man's life consisteth not in the what, church? Abundance of the things which he possesseth. Amen. So, our life shouldn't consist around the things that we accumulate and acquire. Why is Jesus bringing this parable out? Well, just a couple of verses earlier in 13, we have a gentleman. It says here in 13, and one of the company said unto him, Master, speak to my brother that he divide the inheritance with me. Yeah. And here Jesus is going to say in 14, he said unto him, Man, who made me a judge or a divider over you? Jesus was not concerned about the things on earth, but rather, Pastor, about the things in heaven. Right. He wanted the disciples and those around him to realize that our hearts need to be in a spiritual place. Yeah. Those things which are eternal. Listen, you can accumulate all the wealth on earth. You can accumulate great houses and cars, and you can accumulate money, and you can accumulate many, many things. But when you die, you're going to go to one of two places, heaven or hell. You're not going to take this romantic anything with you. Right. It's going to leave it. And that's what the important thing Jesus is trying to teach the disciples here. And for our admonition, Tim, we get the opportunity as Christians, we get to read Luke's writings, and it helps us as the New Testament church to understand what it truly is to be a Christian. Thank God for the blood shed on Calvary. This is not as Passion Week. Today is Palm Sunday. We studied that in our Sunday school class, and Jesus came into, where did he come into? What city was it? Where? Bethlehem. In Jerusalem, wasn't it? Yeah, he was born in Bethlehem, wasn't he? And now I'm not trying to quiz you tonight. Remember, Jerusalem. That's where things happen, right? And he came in and they strawed out those palm branches, and they wanted him to be right then and there for the 10th king. They were being oppressed by Roman rule. I mean, who wouldn't want Jesus to come and set up his kingdom?
That's right.
But he wasn't to set up his kingdom here on earth just yet. Now, there is a 1,000-year millennial reign. We know that in the book of Revelation. But he's setting up a wonderful, beautiful kingdom called heaven for you and I. Jesus was here to do one thing. And Brother Dale, that was to die on the cross.
Amen.
And shed his what, church?
Blood.
Shed his blood for our sins. We're all sinners. No one is exempt. Once you come to the age of accountability, and it's not 12 years old, it could be younger and it could be older. Jesus was concerned about man's well-being, especially those that followed him. He was trying to teach them. What was Jesus doing here by having his disciples following him? He was laying the foundation for the New Testament church. He was laying the stones of that foundation of that church, in whom he was what? The cornerstone of that New Testament church, bought by his blood. So there's a gentleman wanting Jesus to divide the inheritance. But he's saying something much more important. Who made me a judge or divider over you? And he goes on to say, take heed or be warned and beware of covetousness. What is covetousness?
It's a bunch of people that can't sell or sell what they want.
Yeah, it's wanting something that you don't have just yet.
Right.
You're coveting, once you have obtained a lot of money or something, people covet that.
Mistake for the divide that makes it harder over.
Yes, sir. They want more. They want
Right.
more. Never satisfied, never happy.
Covetous.
Our man's life consisteth not in the abundance or the things that we accumulate, but rather the things which we possess.
Right.
What does that put you in, remind you of? That we should be what? Content with
Right.
what we have.
Whatever we have.
Content with what you've
Amen,
got.
brother. It's good.
Happy with what you've got. God's blessed you. Now, he goes on to say in 16, and he spake a parable unto them, saying, the ground of a certain rich man brought forth plentifully. Amen. And what is a parable? Short story that teaches a moral or spiritual lesson. And he thought, now listen to this. This man, a certain rich man, his ground brought forth plentifully. In the Old Testament and the New Testament alike, and even in today, if you own property, you can obtain great riches. Even though the economy is kind of sagging, still yet, there's great riches to be had in property. If a man has property, he can raise cattle and get very wealthy. We know that the tribes of Israel, when they went into Egypt, what were their jobs? Were they farmers? No, they raised cattle. Is that correct? Am I right, Brother Tim? Is that right, Old Testament? Well, let's look at Abraham. How did Abraham get to be wealthy? Cattle. Cattle. Exactly. Jacob. Israel. Same way. So if you've got land, you can make money. And this certain rich man had made quite a bit. What does it say? It says here that a certain rich man brought forth plentifully. Quite a bit. Now, God blesses the just and the unjust. True or false, church? God blesses the just and the unjust.
Yeah.
He sends forth rain. And this rich man had been blessed of God. True or false? Even though we're going to find out in just a little bit that God calls him a fool. And what is a fool from Bible?